welcome to Collabs with Kate. I'm so excited to have the amazing Mohita Kapoor with us today. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Mohita is joining us because she is the State Manager for Create Foundation.
That's correct.
I'm so excited to have you on board. I actually placed you in that role a number of years ago through Taylor Care Recruitment, and it's exciting to see all the things you've done. I know that you have over 16 years in the sector. You've worked within child protection, domestic violence, mental health, advocacy, child, everything. You've kind of done a mixed bag, and I guess the work you're doing now is so critical for young people, and I would love to share with my audience a little bit more about you and the work you're doing. So thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Yep, so I have intensive experience around mental health, child protection, resettlement issues, also things to do with how to provide advocacy and empowerment programs to youth and as well as adults in our sector.
That's amazing. And so what is it that I guess drives you? What got you into the sector and then to the work you're doing now?
See, for me, when I was a young child, a young person, I always knew that I wanted to give back to the community. And for me, it was so important that even if I could impact the life of one person, not today, not tomorrow, but in even 10 years, that would be a successful achievement for me as a person, but also that I would be able to be a medium or an avenue to improving someone's life so that they could live whichever life they thought was their fullest potential to lead.
Wow.
So because we know as a human being, our journeys are very diverse and we experience lots of highs and lows.
Yes.
And we need to come over the trepidations that we experience, but also fully experience the good times that come our way, the opportunities.
Yes.
So at any time in a moment, my interaction or the work I do through leadership and management can improve someone's life at some point in the journey.
Yes.
Is the best, I guess, the best reason why I can say that I want to be in the sector and the work I do.
So you're doing some amazing work at the moment with Create Foundation. Can you tell us a little bit about Create and what they do and the work that you're doing there?
Okay, so Create is a national peak body for the voice of children and young people with a care experience.
Okay.
In all states and territories, we have an office. Our memberships are from young people who have lived the care experience themselves, whether it's for 5 minutes or 10 years or for their full 18 years. We work with children from 0 to 25.
Wow.
Even post their care experience, which means that once they have been transitioned out of the care of the minister, we still work with them. What we do is that we raise awareness, we work around advocacy and policy and make sure that the legislations and the human rights aspect of child protection and child rights are upheld, and how do we continuously improve their experiences while in the sector and under the guardianship of the government or the minister, as they say. So it's critical that we are always being informed by these young people because they are the experts.
Yes.
And we need to be very mindful that their needs are being met and that they can reach the full potential of their lives that they so wish to work towards.
That's incredible. And that's the key, I think, is that we give young people a voice that are in out-of-home care. And for a lot of people, I guess, that in business or the business world, they may not understand what out-of-home care is and what the impacts are for young people in the community. So can you tell us a little bit about out-of-home care, what that involves, and then for people that may not know, and what the impacts are on young people and how we could improve that service for them?
Okay, so just a quick touch on why young people enter out-of-home care, which is essentially at some point in time, young people or young parents or older adults are in a position that they're not in an ability to fully look after their young people or the kids in their
children,
care. And so therefore the government intervenes, and you know it's a very contentious topic, so I'm not going to say if it's right or wrong, but what I'm going to say, the journey is that they're being removed from their parents, their biological parents, and so therefore are placed in either kinship, are either in foster care, then there's other avenues of guardianship and adoption as well. The unfortunate part of this process is that it is quite traumatic for young people to experience, because they know no other normalcy but the household that they're currently living in, and then being removed from what they know is normal.
Yes.
And we know our system, as great it is, the New South Wales legislation is fantastic. Unfortunately, in practice, it's not always the case.
Yes.
With the
not
humanistic,
textbook.
the humanistic or the child-centered or person-centered approach sometimes gets skewed. We have great caseworkers out there
Yes.
and great professionals who
Yes.
want to support, but sometimes in the process of going through the red tape and systems and processes and policies, the child in between gets lost, and their experience of that removal, and then once they're placed, how do we effectively support them and have their voices and their participation, irrespective of their age, be integrated into the practices and systems of an organisation.
Wow, that's huge. Yeah,
Yes.
that's really explains it really well, and I think it definitely is something that we need to understand more of in our society. There's so many kids in need, and if someone is open to being a foster parent, there are a lot of opportunities for people to do that, and organisations that they can connect with. And are you mainly just supporting the young people that create, or can you help foster parents as well?
So we are the voices of young children and young people in saying that a young person is not a silo. There are multiple people and significant individuals in their lives, whether it's professional, whether it's carers, whether it's educational school teachers or principals, whether it's their family and friends, extended family. It can be their football coach. They're not silos, they all play an integral role in that life. So we're centered here, and then whoever is in the best positions to support them to really overcome the hurdles that they unfortunately have not asked for to overcome. So yes, we do work with, so CREATE also runs various programs where we bring the community together to bring awareness and provide an opportunity for everybody to come together and have a good day, a time out, like a fun day out, which is a connection event for us. Then we also have programs such as youth advisory groups, which have been replicated in other certain organisations based on our model, which is about bringing young people together and really talking about the key topics that are impacting them, whether it comes about the Charter of Rights, their rights, and participation in decision making, or how things are really going well and what things aren't. But also what changes they would like to see, because our ethos is to connect, to empower, to change, which is we connect the community or young people together, and then we empower them by providing advocacy and confidence building workshops to empower them to speak up, which is one of our programs, SUP. And then, once they go through that process, we can then have them participate in meetings with the minister, speaking events at conferences, doing blogs, doing other media work, or being in articles or radio shows to really influence change in the sector, because we can't live in a very stagnated system. We're evolving, we're understanding how we need to be centered by children. We need to be led by them because they are the experts. As adults, we can always think what's best, but until we can actually put ourselves in their position, and each child is different. We need to be led by them, and whatever they are voicing to us, it's important that we integrate that into our practices and improve ourselves continuously.
Wow.
So I guess that's what's really important, is that
holistic approach.
We definitely hear from foster carers, we hear from kinship carers, we hear from adoptive parents, we hear from organizations, we hear from caseworkers, we hear from decision makers and influencers. So it's all centered around the young person, and have they taken that into consideration when they're asking or wanting to evolve? So if, like you said, it's a holistic approach, so that we need to hear what everybody's needs is, but for us, it's the voices of children and young people, because they don't have an advocate and we are their advocates.
It's amazing. Yeah, I love that. And I think it's important for us to understand that this is happening. How many kids do you reckon are in out-of-home care at the moment in Australia?
We're going close to 1,700. We have one of the largest population of children in out-of-home care in the whole of Australia. Like, as I mentioned, we have a great legislation. However, the support put in place and the the initiatives and programs in comparison to other states, I think we shy away a little bit. I think there's still room for improvement. In saying that, I will never shy away from saying some of the projects, some of the initiatives that have been put in place are very effective and really worthwhile, but unfortunately they're either small projects, or the funding is short, or the resourcing is short, or they're pilots. So we need to really develop something that we streamline and every young person has the same experience. Not one district, one region is experiencing better than the other, because that's just not okay.
Yeah, it's got to be fair.
And again, I can't emphasize, we have, I think, 884 children, I think, roundabout, children in out-of-home care, and that's a significant amount. And this is constantly increasing. And yes, there is a reduction of reports. However, we can't dismiss the kids already in care, and this is an 18-year span.
Wow.
And we're trying to increase that transition to 21 anyway, because how do you expect a young person at 14, 15, 16 to be able to decipher what happens at 18?
That's such a big
jump. It's not a light bulb switch and we go, oh, I'm 18, I'm an adult. And they've experienced, compared to the their peers in the general public, they've experienced trauma. They've got professionals in their lives. They've have changed their placements or home-like environments. So they're already dealing with a lot, and then you want them to adult straight away on 18. You need to move out, and that's when the other issues such as homelessness comes in.
I've heard that.
So there's so many compounding factors that impact children and young people with the care experience. So it's so important that we keep focus on what's happening for them.
On the children, and that's amazing. And in terms of small to medium-sized businesses, obviously my organisation, we're very big on giving back through business and creating awareness to different charities and different services available. Now, if someone watching this would want to get involved as a business to support or fundraise or raise awareness for Create or for kids in out-of-home care, what would be the best way to do that?
Okay, so we have a conference occurring next year, so we would love sponsors to donate, because this is essentially helping young people all across Australia to go to our conference. I think it's happening in Perth this time. So it's the costing regarding flight and accommodation and other needs that they have, and having a support person as well go with them. So it's about having all young people across Australia come together, congregate, and talk about what's really important and advocate and voice. And we have decision makers come in as well, but that's why sponsorship and grants are great. If you jump on our website, which is create.org.au, that would be great. Otherwise, you can also donate to New South Wales specifically. But I think the key thing is, for me, donations and sponsorships are great. You can also volunteer your time. However, I think the key thing, and what I've heard from young people, is the stigma associated being a child with a care experience. I think when it comes to housing, when it comes to employment, when it comes to health, there's a lot of stigma associated. Disabilities, for example, there's a lot of stigma. So it's like, just take a step back and say, this is a young person in front of you. They've had an experience. They've had exposure to things that normally you wouldn't. And so they are coping, or have coped the best as they could with the skill sets that they had. And they're wanting to get a fair opportunity to live their lives. So if you do have any concerns, please contact someone or read up on, or even contact Create, and then I'm more than happy to discuss what's happening and any queries or concerns you may have, or even just talk to the young person, ask the question, and be very curious. It's not about support. It's like, hey, so I see that you need housing. Tell me more about it, and why this location? Why not another? It's be inquisitive, be approachable. Don't just dismiss them and then have this stigma, or they're going to create problems, or they don't know, they don't have life.
Those unconscious biases.
So I think it's really important to remove those stigmas and those negative connotations that we associate.
And give them a fair go.
Exactly, because if we as a community don't come together to support these children, then we're doing them a disservice, and it's quite unjust, I believe.
Is there like a clear education pathway for these kids? Like, is there like to go into TAFE or to university or college or whatever? Like, is there like a way that they can get, or apprenticeships? Like, how does...
So we've been advocating with the Department of Education, and I believe that our department is doing a lot of work around really educating themselves and being aware of pathways as well as their experiences in school. So we're working towards a better experience. But again, there's a lot of stigma, there's a lot of mental health issues, concerns, because teachers sometimes aren't appropriately trained or in a position to be always trauma informed. And it's hard when you, and I feel for the teachers. Sometimes you have a full, classroom. So how do you connect with a child who might be a bit disconnected or might be acting out? So what supports and resources and what practices can they put in place or develop frameworks to make sure that they're inclusive of a young person who might be going through a bit of a, building that rapport and connection and trusting, essentially.
I wonder if there could be even like a pathway in the employment space to give them like work experience, like give them placements almost like you do in college or whatever, to actually go for a week and work in different businesses and see what it's like so they can work out what they want to do, Yeah,
and I think, again, it goes back to sitting with a young person and going, what would they like to do? And it doesn't have to be at 16 or 18, maybe a bit later, maybe a bit earlier, whenever
20s.
The young person is ready, basically, because, we can all, some people are lucky enough to know what they want to do when they're quite young, and others still sort of find themselves, even at 30, figuring out, what do I want to do with my life? Is this the career path I have? So I agree. I think having some employment pathways is great. Having that opportunity and that resource available, fantastic. I think education, whether it comes for employment, even with youth justice, it's difficult for someone who's had experience with the youth justice system as well. So those compounding factors, you have to take that in account if you are having, whatever pathways and resources, you need to understand
the implications of that.
Like you understand that we need to accept them and what can we offer considering all these factors.
Wow. That's amazing. And I think it's definitely something as a community we could do more on to help these young people. We are first to jump in and help, sponsor a child in Africa and things like that. But it's like, what could we, like I've seen, like the Smith family, they do like a, sponsor an Australian child, like, helping kids that are, needing to get back into school and stuff and get food and make sure they've got their clothing and uniforms and things. And it's like, so it's like, looking at what it is we can be doing in our own backyard and supporting young people. And ultimately, so that there's a better pathway for them and a kind of also for foster parents to be able to easily support these kids as well and get the support they need too. And I think it's a two-edged sword. I interviewed someone else around that side of things on this series. And so I think it's really important that we give all of you a voice and show Australia and the community how we can all get involved. And so I really appreciate that.
No, for me, I think, and I'm part of some campaigns about supporting children and young people as they're transitioning, and for me it's the issue of when we speak in the sector, we're already talking to the converted. So what's important is the general public at large, especially around election time or the budget time. How do we lobby together to make sure that something that doesn't directly impact us but will impact our current and future generations? How do we build a future? These kids are our future. This is our current generation, and they are going to build our future. How much and what are we willing to invest in them? Because we can't segregate. And like I said, we have one of the largest populations, and we cannot turn a blind eye. We need to provide the same level of support as we do to others. Every human being on this earth deserves a chance. And so do these kids specifically. So it's about, as a community at large who is not directly, connected or aware, and you never know. Unless you are inquisitive and inquire, you might actually know someone who has a foster kid, or who's had a care experience themselves as and you know them as an adult. So as a community, I think it's so important to build our awareness on a sector that is probably in our day-to-day life is not relevant to us. But it has such a significant impact because we know when we're sort of distributing resources, we don't realise that this can impact our future as well, and our current state of economy and livelihoods and and the potential of our community to really thrive.
Wow. I know it's such a big topic, I guess. Like we could.
I know I could talk about it for a
unpack it
while.
all even further, and I guess it would be great if we could get more small businesses behind. If you're or larger businesses, if you're in a position to potentially offer employment pathways to kids in out of home care, foster care, or if you're someone that would like to volunteer time or give some donations, get involved in that conference coming up for young people. If you want to donate, send someone to that conference, some young person. I'll put it in the show notes here where people can get involved on goandcreate.org and see if you guys can get behind it.
Any donation, any level of sponsorship is greatly accepted and appreciated. I think it's really so important that the community and businesses do get involved.
Yes.
Because it's such a wonderful cause to be part of.
Yeah.
So if you can sponsor or donate to the state or at nationally for the conference or if you have brilliant ideas where you want to encourage other young people to get a voice out there to build leadership skills through our empowerment programs, then please reach out to me and I'll be happy to do a proposal of a fee-for-service contract where we can actually get a number of young people and give them a voice and give them skills to actually speak about what's really important and how they can change the sector.
Wow.
And their lives.
Wow. It's amazing. I'm so proud to see all the things you're doing in the community, and you're definitely making impact with more than just one person. I know you said that was your mission, just to do one person, you've made a difference. Well, I think you're making an impact every day in different people's lives. And,
thank you.
I think that is like an amazing legacy that you are creating here. And in terms of, I love people and quotes. So to end it, I'd love to know what your favorite quote is and why.
Okay, I have plenty, but I think what I thought about this, because I was like, what is it? Because I have so many.
I know.
But I thought, what is something I usually say a lot?
Yes.
And I think I even said it today. And it's like, you are the expert of your own destiny and be led by those who are experts of their destiny.
Wow.
Be there, support them, and support yourselves.
Yeah, wow. That's amazing.
I don't know, I can't copyright it to anyone, so it's mine now.
It's your own.
I believe so.
It's a Mohita quote.
So yeah, it's a Mohita quote.
Yeah, we are the experts to our destiny, and we've got to use and leverage what is in our world of influence to use our story, use our message to help others. We all have been on a journey, and it's about using that and advocating for those causes.
So children are the experts of their lives, so you need to hear and listen to them and work with them.
Yes, love that. Thank you so much for coming on board.
Thank you for having me.